Welcome to another episode of Practical Organic Living. This video is going to be on trying out the new Lomi Bloom and comparing the results of the Lomi Bloom to the Lomi Classic. So we've had the Lomi composter for a year or two and we've been pretty happy with it so far. Lomi just came out with a new upgraded model and we're excited to try it out. The new model is called the Lomi Bloom and the previous model is now called the Lomi Classic. The main two differences between the older model, which is the Lomi Classic, and the newer model, which is the Lomi Bloom, is that number one, the Lomi Bloom has upgraded temperature sensors, which theoretically makes the composting cycle quicker and more efficient. And also, the Lomi Bloom has a connected app experience, which basically means that you can download the app to your smartphone and earn rewards points and track your progress towards reducing your carbon footprint. So before we do that, we've got to unbox this Lomi Bloom. All right, so now let's start unboxing the Lomi Bloom. So this comes in the similar box as the Lomi Classic. So if you open it up, you see that there's a power cord and there's a lid. And inside you see the Lomi itself and some other accessories on the side. So let's take a look at the accessories first. So as I mentioned, we have the power cord, we have an instruction manual here, and this basically tells you to download the Lomi app. And this is introduction to what you can put in the Lomi and what you cannot put in the Lomi. And also we have the Lomi Pod Compost Accelerator. So in a previous video, we've actually showed you what this is and how you can use it. You'll see us unbox this a little bit later and actually use it in the compost. So this is pretty helpful. So this right here is a filter refills. And what this is, as you've seen in our previous video, is that to reduce the odor of the Lomi and the composting process, you put these in the filters. And finally, this is the Lomi itself. Another thing you'll see is that our old Lomi did not have a clear lid. With Lomi Bloom, it appears that the default is a clear lid, so you can see the composting process. So I'm going to lift the Lomi up now. This looks different from the Lomi Classic because you got the Grow mode, the Eco Express, which is the default mode, and the Lomi Approved. You have these different stages, I think, of the whole composting process. And looking at the back here, this looks about the same because this is where the charcoal filters are going to go. So as you can see, we're going to put the charcoal filters that I showed you earlier in here, and we're going to put it back in here. And what I like about this actually is that there's no more screws. So something I didn't like about the Lomi Classic was that I had to unscrew the two screws here every time I put the charcoal filter in and out. And this is what the Lomi looks like inside. So this is a pail. The design is pretty much the same as the Lomi Classic. And if you look inside here, you'll see that the mechanism's the same. You have a motor that basically spins the bucket around. And then this is where the other filter is going to go. And if I unscrew this here, this is where the other charcoal filters are going to go. And actually I like this a little bit better because it's easier to unlock and lock. So this is the temperature sensor. This is where it's going to be, and it's actually protected by a little foam inside. Okay, so this is the Lomi unboxed, and now we're going to put the charcoal filters in, we're going to set it up, and we're going to compare the Lomi Bloom versus the Lomi Classic by putting the same kitchen scraps inside both these composters. So we'll be back in a little bit. So now we've filled these with the charcoal filters, and we're going to put this in the Lomi. For this one here, you're just gonna screw this on like that and it'll snap just like that. And you can put it in here. And I like how it's more of a soft close now as opposed to before. And for this filter, which would go in the back here. So first let me screw this back on. So now we have this filter that goes in the back. And how you're gonna put this on is you're gonna slide it. So you're gonna just go like this. And it will be a soft click. That's how you know that it's secured in place. And then you can put it in, just like that. And then you're gonna snap this back on. So this is the Lomi. Now we're gonna connect this to power. Okay, that's the sound of Lomi powering up. So this is probably just asking me to sub to the Wi-Fi, to connect it to Wi-Fi, but I don't feel like doing that right now. So right now I'm gonna put this compost in. So you can take the lid off. I'm gonna grab my compost. So basically what I've got is a whole bunch of stuff you normally use in the kitchen. We don't need to go into details, but I have some orange peels, citrus peels, napkins, coffee grounds, eggshells, and some shrimp shells. So we're going to put half of this in here in the Lomi Bloom and half it in the Lomi Classic. So this is our Lomi Classic, the Lomi that we've been using for a while. And as you can see from the inside, we've been using a lot. So I'm going to put this in, just dump all this inside. The rest of the compost inside. So I'm going to put a Lomi pod inside. I'm going to put the lid back on the Lomi Classic. And we usually just use the default mode. And this will be probably done 5 hours. So this is the Lomi pod that we've been put into the Lomi. I'm going to take one of these, and I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put the lid back on, snap it shut, and start. So in the meantime, you can see how the Lomi is actually working because it's a clear lid. So as you can see right now, it's just trying to condense the volume. And later on, it's going to heat the stuff inside and start breaking it down. So we'll be back in a little bit and show you the progress of the Lomi Bloom breaking down the food waste inside. All right, see you in a little bit. Okay, well, the two Lomis have finished composting. So now we're going to do a comparison of the finished results of the Lomi Bloom and Lomi Classic for you to see. There's 3 criteria I'm going to use to evaluate the test results. The first criteria is the time to completion. The Lomi Bloom actually took 5 hours, like the app said, to complete the cycle. But the Lomi Classic, surprisingly, only took 3 hours to complete the cycle. So we actually expected the Lomi Bloom to finish a little bit faster, but the opposite was true. So what does that mean? That may mean that the overall cycle time is probably going to be pretty similar. So the second criteria I'm going to use to evaluate the test results is the reduction in volume. Now I'm going to open the Lomi and we're going to see what's in here. So as you can see, our Lomi Bloom has produced, and our Lomi Classic, which I scooped into another bin, looks like this. Okay, so here's the two. So my left hand, which is on the right, is the Lomi Bloom, and in my right hand, on your left side, is the Lomi Classic. So the reduction volume, if I look at just your eye test, is pretty much about the same actually. This just looks like there's a lot more material in here, but if I actually scoop this up, it's actually about the same. All right, and the third criteria, and the most important criteria I'm going to use, is the resulting texture quality. So if I look at the Lomi Bloom, I can see that there are still pieces of shells and napkins and so forth. And same thing with the Lomi Classic, but I actually think the Lomi Classic broke this down a little bit better. I feel like the Lomi Bloom and the Lomi Classic are about the same, but the Lomi Classic might be a little bit better. I'm gonna do a smell test now. They smell about the same. There's no odor. It smells slightly sweet actually, a little bit earthy, so that's pretty consistent with our previous view of the Lomi. So what did we think of the finished quality of the Lomi Bloom and the Lomi Classic? Well, we thought it was actually pretty good because we purposely gave it a pretty tough test. So we were pretty happy with the results. So in conclusion, the Lomi Classic would probably work just as well for those of you who are interested in buying the Lomi because the results are pretty much about the same. So the main reason why we would recommend the Lomi Bloom over the Lomi Classic is if you're into the connected app experience, meaning if you're interested in seeing when your compost will be done, or if you're interested in tracking your carbon impact, and also if you're interested in earning rewards, then maybe the Lomi Bloom is a better fit for you. But if you're just looking to generate compost, maybe a Lomi Classic will work just as well for you as well. So that was our video on comparing the Lomi Bloom and the Lomi Classic and highlighting some key differences between the two. So let us know if you have any questions on the Lomi Bloom and the Lomi Classic. Please leave a comment and we'll try to get back to you. If there's something in particular you want to know about the Lomi Bloom experience, let us know and we'll make another video. So that's it for today, and we'll see you in the next video.